Inducted in the Pioneer category, Dr. Harry Warren is commonly known as the father of field hockey in Canada. And like many in the sport, his involvement began as a young player. While a second-year student at the University of British Columbia, he formed the university's first field hockey team.
I found there were two people in the university that ever played hockey, and I persuaded them and all the people who couldn't get on the rugby and soccer teams because you had to be pretty good and had to spend a lot of time, and I wasn't a particularly brilliant student. So we got together and we entered a team, and we got thrashed for the first few years. Regularly, we were the doormats for nearly every team, but eventually people learned to play.
He kept playing, but his biggest accomplishments with respect to the sport came as an administrator. He founded the Canadian Men's Field Hockey Association and was a key player involved in the launch of the Women's Association.
And he was also honorary president of the Canadian Women's Field Hockey Association. When they first traveled abroad, which they did before the men, he managed to obtain funding. They went to the World Tournament in Australia in 1956, and he managed to give them a substantial boost by getting half their airfare covered. And that meant a lot. I mean, there was no government funding then. In 1963, he paid his own way to Toronto to go to the Canadian Olympic Association meeting to sell field hockey to them.
His efforts resulted in field hockey being recognized as an Olympic sport by the Canadian Olympic Committee and paved the way for field hockey players for decades to come to be a part of the world's biggest tournament.
He was passionate about getting into the Olympics. He'd been an Olympian himself in 1928. He was a sprinter, and he felt that it was a sport that Canada should be involved in because it was relatively inexpensive as a player to participate in.
In 1965, Warren and Canadian Olympic President Harold Wright received an international accolade which honored Canadian field hockey and its service to hockey. In many respects, field hockey in Canada is what it is today because of Dr. Harry Warren.
He'd probably be pretty excited, but he'd probably be pretty modest about it. I think it's probably more exciting for his grandsons who played. Very significant, pretty nice, great honor.
Warren received many honors throughout his life, including the Order of British Columbia and the Order of Canada, but he himself held sport and field hockey close to him.
The most important thing to him, I think, was to have fun. And if they didn't have fun, then they're no business being there.
The UBC had headlines many years ago. Prof says students should have a hell of a good time. And what I was trying to tell them was that they're not to worry about the money, but to do something that they felt was worthwhile doing, that they liked. And I quoted from my family doctor at the time I was small, "Get your happiness out of your work, or you won't know what real happiness is." And I've preached that to anyone that wants to listen.
Congratulations to Dr. Harry Warren on his induction into the Field Hockey Canada Hall of Fame.